Hi, everyone. Adrienne Everheart. I'm going to share with you some tips to control your emotions if you are hooked on one man. If you have found one man and he's all you can think about, he's all you want to be with, and you have maybe even invested a lot of time with him, I'm going to teach you about how controlling and owning your emotions from the standpoint of feminine energy, why this is so important for women to know about and understand the difference between love and limerence and being obsessed with someone, and how over investing in one person actually repels a man. So if you continue to find yourself in situations where you meet a great guy, he's absolutely wonderful, but he somehow ends up, just when you're really starting to like him, he ends up kind of drifting away from you, I want you to really pay attention to the tips I'm sharing with you in this video, and how over investing and not being in control of your emotions is really sabotaging opportunities for love and long-term lasting relationship. So if you are new to my channel, this is a live stream. Please do take a moment and hit subscribe. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, and I always make sure that my subscribers know when I'm about to go live, and you'll get a message from me, and I would love to have you subscribe. So click subscribe and let's get started on being hooked on one guy and controlling your emotions. So I want you to understand that overinvestment is something that women can do very easily, because we will tend to focus a lot of our energy on one man. And a good way around this is that I want you to only think about this man when he's in front of you. So when he's in front of you and he's right there in front of you, I want you to think about him all you want to. But I really don't want this to be like all you do is, stay at home and daydream about him all the time. This is how you really get over invested in a man, is that you're daydreaming and thinking about him, and your mind begins to identify, so much of your energy is focused on this man because your thoughts are just on him all the time, that you actually really lose touch with yourself. You lose touch with who you are and what you want to have in life. You lose your rich, juicy life. So when you put all of your energy into one man, this sends a signal to him of this laser focus on him. And that laser focus repels him. He can just energetically feel that. Okay. Now, the next thing I want you to understand is quantum dating, the value of quantum dating. This is something that I teach in FEM Tools for Dating. FEM Tools for Dating, if you have any doubts about how to date, how to write your profile, how to get out there, how to go from texting and communicating hello to actually going on regular dates with someone, I want you to look into FEM Tools for Dating. This program will radically change how you date and how you'd go from dating to a relationship. Something as simple as having that clarity conversation of the terms and agreements before you get committed is a huge game changer. So check that out on my website, everheartcoaching.com. So let's talk about quantum dating and really, deciding to be committed to one man before there's an offer on the table. You would not believe how many women that I speak with and coach with who tell me, like, I've been dating this man for 2 years. I think he wants to marry me. We've talked about it a few times, but yet she still doesn't have a ring on her finger. She's still not engaged. She doesn't even know if this man still wants to marry her. And this is a really scary place for a woman to be, because you have invested all this time into this man. So, what I would love for you to learn how to do is quantum date. And I talk about your quantum five. And this is where you always have your number one man. You have the man that you really, really want, but you have these other men that you're just dating and going out for coffee. You're meeting a new person and you're dating. You might even be sexually exclusive with just one man, but you're keeping your options open until that man comes to you and says, hey, I want to be committed. I want to be exclusive with just you. And you say, well, what does that mean? And you discuss the terms and conditions, the terms and agreements of the relationship. Because he might say, yeah, I want you with me. You're only mine. Of course, he feels that way. This is how men feel in the beginning But I want you to more get in touch with, well, what do I want? If I'm giving up every other guy in this world and I'm going to be with this one guy, what is it that I need? I need to date someone at least twice a week. I would like to go on vacation at least twice a year, just you and I. I would like to be able to meet your children. I would want, go to family get togethers at least, once or twice, every month or so. You have to get very clear on what this committed relationship means. Okay. So when you are stuck on one guy and only that one guy is what you want and will bring you happiness, and he's not showing up, he's not committed to you, or he's committed, but he's flaking out on you, you see the importance of having this conversation. So if you find yourself in this situation already and you're with a man and you're totally hooked on him and you're in a committed relationship, you need to revisit the terms and conditions or terms and agreements. And you need to say, it feels really good being in a committed relationship with you, yet to keep going, I need to have someone that I date at least 2 to 3 times a week. I need to have, I haven't met your children yet. It's been 2 years or whatever it may be. You need to discuss this. And keep in mind, you want to have a little room for flexibility. You might not get all of these things that you want. Like sometimes I have women say, well, I want a man to text me 2 or 3 times a day. That just might not be what he's good at doing. So I want you to think about what's really important to you and why. Now, for those of you tuning in, I want to tell you, I'm going to get to the third step here. And this one is worth really taking some notes and sticking with me through this video about, because the third step is about getting what you want. And if you are fixated on just one man and you're hooked on him, and this is about controlling your emotions, well, how do you do that? It's so easily said, isn't it? I just need to control my emotions. Adrienne said, don't invest, don't think about him all the time. And I need to go back to quantum dating. My guy's going to break up with me. He's never going to let me quantum date. Well, you have to be willing to have that conversation. You have to be willing to let him know, I'm not happy the way things are, and I want to keep my options open. And he may say, well, if you date other people, it's done with me. That may be part of it. Otherwise, you're going to just stay on the same loop that you've been on, and nothing will ever change. So go read my blog, Why Walking Away Works. It's in the description of this video. Go check that out. Now, again, for those of you just joining, please do check out on my website, everheartcoaching.com. I have a free ebook, and I also have some programs and courses you can take, such as FIM Tools for Dating and my super popular 500 Ways to Talk to a Man. I get messages from women every day about this book, about how it has just completely transformed their relationships, and no doubt it will transform yours as well. So let's understand why you're fixated on this one man. This is my final step. This is understanding that he has some sort of allure. A lot of times it's this hot, cold allure that really makes us chase a man, because he's like there and he's showering us with attention and amazing sex and all these wonderful things. And then he's not there. And we're like, bring back my happiness, come back to me, right? And so what this does to your brain, it really causes like a little bit of neuroses, because you kind of get addicted to what will make you feel good, even though it's not in front of you. And that is the problem with the push pull, the hot, cold man. So if you are really fixated on one man there, and it's not like in the new part of the relationship, but like you're fixated, you think about him all the time, there's a good chance he's hot and cold. And that's just making you chase and pursue. And it really creates this rubber band feeling where, when he messages you, hi, your heart just starts pounding and you feel so happy. But really, I want you to think about what it is you really want. So here's the next part of this third step, which is number one, understand the allure of this man. He's here and then he's not here. He's with me and it's amazing sex, and then I don't hear from him for 2 weeks. Okay, understand that allure, that somewhere in there you have some sort of fascination with this hot, cold, because when you finally do get to spend time with him, it feels so wonderful. The next part, I want you to brainstorm about what it is you do want. I want you to brainstorm about indeed what it is that you do want in a relationship. How will that look? How will that feel, this new relationship? How often will you see each other? How often will you date until you're married? I want you to brainstorm about what it is that you want, however that looks like. Don't make it just about that man. Brainstorm about what you want. So, for example, at one point, I was with my, at the time, boyfriend, Jeff, and I knew I really wanted to be a wife. If I talked about being a wife with him, he would immediately shut down. And at some point, I had to be like, you know what? I need to be willing to dream of being a wife with someone else because all I know is I want to be a wife. And this guy's telling me no. If I keep going by his rules, I'm never going to be a wife. Everything that's important to me will not exist. So I want you to brainstorm about what's important to you. Next step, I want you to set a time frame. I want you to have a time frame such as I want to meet a really wonderful guy that I can date regularly within the next, say, 30 days. I want you to have that. All right. And then I want you to be able to project even further. If, like, in, a year from now, I want to be married. And in a year and a half from then, I want to be pregnant. I want to be happy creating a family. I want you to go ahead and dream and go ahead and set yourself a timeline. So let's start with the closest timeline, which is in 30 days. I want to have a wonderful guy that I'm dating regularly. It's going to feel really good. Maybe even a couple of guys. All right. So start with one and then go to the next one and ask yourself, why is this important for me? Now, this question is so, so important. I do not want you to skip this question, which is, why is this important to me? I want you to get clearly in touch and in contact with why you want to have a guy to date regularly. And as much as you can, I want you to meet your own needs. This means that when you get attached to one guy and your emotions are out of control, it's because you're looking for other people to give you the feelings that you want to feel instead of finding it yourself. So I'm not saying that when you ask yourself, why do I want this? I'm not going to say that it's going to answer all of your questions and you can do it yourself, because clearly we want relationships. We want to be in love. We want to be married. Another person's involvement is part of this. But first off, I want you to just get in touch with, why is this important to me? How much is it about me wanting something that's outside of me versus me just like, I really want this. This feels wonderful to me to have. To really get in touch with the why, because that why, when it comes to manifesting and calling forth what you really want in life, that why is the fuel that gets you there. That why is the fuel. So don't at all skip that part. Now, this next part is, what actions can I take within the next 30 days to have this wonderful man I'm dating, or whatever it is you want in the next 30 days. I want you to make a list of completely doable actions that you can begin to take to make this happen in your life. Because when you are hooked on one guy and your emotions feel out of control, you don't feel like you have options. You don't feel like you have choices. You're literally starving for the next crumb this person will give you. So, what this does is it breaks you out of this thinking and being and believing that you don't have options and that you cannot take action to get what it is you want in life. And I want to tell you, you might think that it's just this one guy. He is your only option and he's all that there ever will be. But when you begin to dream outside of that box you have yourself in, all sorts of things open up in this world. All kinds of potentials and outcomes become available to you. You don't just have one outcome. You have many, many, many outcomes. And you might, for example, think that you really want to do something. You really want to study this particular study or do this certain path or move to this certain city. But dreams can change. And it's perfectly okay if your dreams change and if you decide that you actually want something different. All right. So I hope this has been helpful to you. If any of you is hooked on one guy and your emotions are out of control, this will really help you to reframe and put the focus back on you. Again, if you're just joining me, please take a moment, hit subscribe to my channel. That way you'll get my updates whenever I go live. For any of you listening, please do check out the links below. I have the link to my group, my website, and all my programs and self-study courses. Let's take a couple questions. Anna says, what if you are married and he's hot and cold? Welcome to marriage. So when you say hot and cold, is he sometimes affectionate and sometimes withdrawals? Anna, I would really like for you to consider taking like a 30-day feminine energy reset. In that, I think for at least 2 weeks, I don't want you to complain about anything. When you're around him, don't complain about anything and only comment on the good you see. So if he does any teeny tiny thing that's so good, I want you to say, not just, hey, thank you for washing the dishes, or, oh, hey, thank you for letting the dog out earlier today. I want you to tell him how it feels. Tell him how this feels to you. Now, here's how a feeling statement works. If you say, I feel, and then that is the feeling, you're on the right track. But if you say, I feel, and there's other words before the feeling, don't do that. I want it to be like, I feel warm. I feel happy. I feel scared. That's how your feeling statement needs to be said. Instead of like, I feel you are making me scared, or I feel you are upsetting me, very different. It's I feel and the word. So I want you all to practice that. So no complaining for 2 weeks, no complaints, no criticisms, back off and really focus on the good things and see if you don't begin to see him begin to change and come closer. All right, let's move on to another question. My boyfriend of 3 years doesn't know if he wants to marry me. JB, go read my blog about walking away. I know it's the scariest thing in the world. And then also, I have a podcast number 29. It hits this week. I talk about when someone is not on the same page with you, walking away, and why walking away is the scariest thing in the world, but it is the best thing in the world. And you have to do it. You have to look it right in the eyes and be willing to walk away and just go check into that. Someone says there's a 30-day reset only for married women. Absolutely not. You can 30-day reset with your boyfriend, with a friend, with your parents, with a professor, whoever. You can really go to this place of peeling your criticisms and your judgments off that person and really focusing on the value and the good that they bring you every day. It will definitely make a shift in your energy. Okay, I'm going to take one more question. Costello says, I have a guy friend I'm confused about. He stays in touch, is supported, but I feel confused as to what he wants. It seems like there's something more, but I don't want to lose. So I talk about this this is one of the many things I talk about in my ebook, 500 Ways to Talk to a Man. Now, 500 Ways is an ebook and it comes with video courses. Ladies, if you're new to feminine energy, you don't really know what to say to a man and how to have a conversation in a way that's going to be really productive, I want you to consider this ebook. It's at my website, Everheart Coaching. The links are below. So let's look at this. He's a friend. He stays in touch. She feels like there's more. So let's go back to that feeling statement and what she's feeling, which is, I feel like there's more. Okay. So you can say to him, I don't want to mess up our friendship, but sometimes I feel like there's more. What do you think? Now, that model, which is you're saying what you don't want to have happen, you tell him what you feel, and then what do you think? You can apply that model to so many things, but you're going to have this conversation with him. You're just going to have to get the words out and say, what do you think? And if he goes, I don't know, I don't think it would be a good idea. Okay, you got to get your attention off that man and focus on other men. Okay, let's see. I'll take one more question. Someone says, how are we supposed to meet these guys? Smarty Kate, in my VIP library, whenever you buy a program, not my ebook, but my programs, I have a document in there called 100 Ways to Meet Men. And there's actually more than 100 on this list. And I just talk about all these different places you can go meet men, such as I was recently at a Mexican food restaurant during lunchtime. If you want to be surrounded by a ton of men, go to a Mexican restaurant at lunchtime and learn how to receive arrows from men. Some other places you can go to is any type of car show, hardware stores on a Sunday. There are just certain times that men are in certain places, any type of beer festival. And here's one for you: progressive music. A lot of amazing men are in something called progressive music, and they do, you know, tours and shows. It's going to be tons of men at these places. All right. So check out my programs, check out my ebook, check out my website. You're going to find a lot of stuff to help you. All right, everybody, give this video a thumbs up if it's been helpful for you. That lets me know I've done a good job. And as always, please hit the subscribe button. If you're not a subscriber, subscribing is free. All right, everybody, sending you much love. I'll see you next time. Bye.